Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with a new guest today with this episode, and this is Ilke Demir. Ilke Demir, she's a PhD doctor, I could call her scientist, number one in her field. How did I get in touch with her? When I see a young woman in the field of science, computer science, PhD, MS, numbers, artificial intelligence. And what's interesting, because I have a son also who's in that field, artificial intelligence, but what's interesting here is her specific experience with filmmaking and artificial intelligence. Did I get that right? Welcome, Ilke. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for the very nice introduction. It's lovely to be here.
Good.
So for your question, AI has been used in many areas in our lives right now, and recently, like the proliferation of all of these, like data science approaches, the availability of data sets, and everywhere we look is data, right? So
All right, so everyone wants data. So when you say AI, we'll say AI, that's artificial intelligence. Okay, go on.
Right. Artificial intelligence depends on data because we are trying to teach machines understand things, and to do that, they need to experience things, and to do that, they need data. So if we take that context specifically for filmmaking, what we do is try to digitalize everything in a 10,000 square dome. Just imagine there is that huge dome, and there are cameras everywhere.
A dome.
Like
There's a
100
huge
cameras.
dome. Okay, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And cameras everywhere, and they are capturing everything in that dome. And there is 270 gigabytes of data per second. Just imagine your hard disk.
Oh my
Imagine
God.
how much is your hard disk.
Yes.
That is per second. So we feed all that data to different artificial intelligence approaches, such as like point cloud reconstruction, like cleaning, segmentation, and all of those like different computer vision.
So you're talking about all different techniques of filmmaking, segmentation, these things that many of our listeners may not understand. So
right.
So you're saying that this data, all of that data, can be cut, pasted, changed, rendered, fast, slow. I mean, turned around, go backward, forward. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Exactly, and that's actually there's another dimension in it, and there's literally another dimension to it. So the movies that we are doing is not 2D; they are 3D, and the
3D.
capture is 3D too. So. For example, like I will just give an example of like one of the demos that was done there. We actually brought a horse in that dome. Yeah. And normally, if you want to like capture a movie, like it's just like 2D cameras, like looking at like every angle, trying to look at every angle.
Right. So let's say the people who are just listening won't be able to see you. But what I'm looking at when she's talking, she's raising her hands and she's moving around with this little camera. So usually that's what people do. But instead, go on.
I'm sorry about that.
She's excited.
Instead of that, now we are capturing it from everywhere, from 100 cameras, and then using AI, we can create that in 3D. So everything is captured 3D, everything is processed 3D, everything is output in 3D. So, for example, when you go into a virtual reality setting or an augmented reality,
say that again. A virtual reality.
Virtual reality, yeah, VR.
Okay. Yeah, when we go into a virtual reality, what was that?
When you go to a virtual reality setting,
yes.
Like for example, like when you watch our capture in virtual reality with the headset, you can actually be everywhere in that 3D capture. So you can look from the eyes of the horse, or you can like just like try to watch it like without interfering, and the capture is also like that too. It's not like 3D augmentation of 2D. Yes. It is real 3D. And that is the beauty of AI in volumetric filmmaking.
Okay, so now, of course, when someone like me talks to someone like you, first thing that happens is my mouth drops, the jaw opens, and I'm thinking, where did she come from? how did she get, what's a nice girl like you doing in this type of work? So tell me, how did you get there? What brought you? I mean, in the case of my son, he was so young, I could remember him programming when he was 12 years old. In a computer, he was programming chess. And so,
Nice.
you start with numbers. But in your case,
Right.
tell me, how did it happen?
So I'm not sure whether I was 12, but when I was small,
Yeah.
we used to do surgery on electronic things with
Oh
my
my
dad.
God. Oh my
Yeah, it's
God.
like opening a radio or opening a telephone, looking inside, like rewiring and like closing it back. Most of the time it works back, but
But this
sometimes it
was your
does not.
father.
Yeah. With my father, we were doing those things when I was small, so I was already like very interested in electronics and electronic
Okay, and
things
where
and
was this?
how to build up.
Was it in the United States? Was it in another country?
Oh yeah, I'm from Turkey, so that was all the way back in Turkey. Yeah, when I
Okay.
was small,
Uh-huh.
and that
And now
interest.
now you are in California. Is that right?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
now I'm in Los Angeles, California.
Mm-hmm. Go
Correct.
on.
Um, so yeah, that interest in electronics and building things actually became very obvious when I was in high school, because in high school we have national math olympiads and national computer science olympiads, and
Ah.
I was selected to represent my school in that national olympiads, and because of
And
that,
what age was this, Ilke? What age was
that was
that?
in high school. That was
Maybe
I don't know,
16, 17,
yes, maybe less, like
15?
yeah, 15 might maybe,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Um, so when you get selected to that, your brothers in senior years actually get to teach you programming, and that's where
Oh,
I
you
learned.
started.
Yes, that's where
That's
I
where you
started
started with
programming.
computer science. Then that's when you started that.
Maybe it's not like core computer science in high school because we don't have that education.
Right,
But
right.
I started programming and learning C and like fundamentals of how to actually uh, do something with
With the
computers,
computer,
right?
right?
Yeah,
Programming.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So after that, I was like obviously interested in computer science, and I in Turkey we have that national university entrance exam
Yes.
where like everybody is like race horses preparing for that exam.
Wait. When you say everybody, I can't imagine that everybody. First, that they're not qualified. But you know what I mean? Probably people who are interested in doing that. I'm sure there are other people who are interested in art or something. Or is that like you really mean it's a national trend? Is that what
No,
you're
it
saying?
is. No, what I'm saying is that university entrance exam is for everything,
I
like
see.
all branches, all areas,
Okay,
all
okay. There is
universities.
a
So
university exam. Hmm.
yeah. So for example, you are trying to get that very high score.
Yes.
If you, even though if you want to go to medicine or you want to go to engineering, etc., you want to get the
Right.
highest.
Right.
So I don't know. In my time, it was 1.8 million like high schoolers taking that exam.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so I got a very high score in that and got to get the chance to get into the best university in Turkey in
Uh-huh.
computer science.
Uh-huh.
And
Where was that? In what city?
it is in Ankara. It is Middle
Ankara.
East Technical University. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
METU for short.
Metu. Mm-hmm.
METU, yes, I get into METU, and I was correct. I really loved computer science. Everything was good. Then I got an internship in a robotics lab.
Uh-huh.
It's called Kovan,
Okay,
Kovan Robotics Lab.
robotics lab. Where was that?
That's also in METU. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
in Ankara. Yeah.
How long did that
Uh,
last, the internship?
it was for 4 months. It's like summer internship.
Okay.
But we get to collaborate and like pursue the ideas behind that, and that was my first time being exposed to research environment, right?
Uh-huh.
um, so because of that, I really fell in love with computer vision, like trying to make those robots see, understand the world, navigate in the world, and how they can actually enable machines to be more like humans, which is the base of artificial intelligence,
Right,
right?
that is the base. Wait, but you're going on and on. But I'm watching you, and I'm in my mind is going all. I'm thinking. Tell me, at that time, how many girls? Because we're talking about girls' age. Were how many young women were in that program?
Yeah, that's a perfect question. So yeah, I know. That's a way to cut my energy, as you can
Yes.
see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the truth.
Yeah. So in my when I got into computer science department, um, first we were like 110
Students.
students, and I think just like 11 or 12 of them were women,
Well,
and that's
that's
first year.
that's
Then
one
like
tenth. That's still good. 1/10, and then the second year.
the second year, like people drop and the number gets a little bit less and less, so it gets more depressing. And
Was it four
our
years? Was it 4 years? The program.
yes, 4 years, yes.
Okay, what happened at the fourth year? How many were left?
I don't know the number. I know like my a few close friends, like 5, 6 people. 5, 6 women, but I don't know the actual number.
Okay,
And
very
our,
few.
our our department is like one of the best ones. Like computer science is not famous for the lack of girls. For
Uh-huh.
if you look at mechanical engineering, for example, I know that like a friend of mine, she's a woman. She was in mechanical engineering, and she was just one of 3 women
Ah,
in there. And
ah.
their class is even more, like I don't know, maybe 200 people. I don't know.
So let's say mechanical engineering for women is much more challenging in terms of equality. Let's put in numbers at least. Okay,
Right,
so
right.
now we're at the fourth year of your university, and did you have to write a some kind of thesis or something? Did you have to do some kind of research report or something, or no?
Yeah, we needed to do the graduation project.
Yes.
And our graduation project was super cool. We actually built a warfare simulator.
Oh, wait a minute. What year was this? What year was this? Warfare Simulator. What year was it?
Um, 2010, yeah, just before we graduate. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. And how many of you were involved in doing
We
this?
were 4 people.
Four.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All women or women and men?
Me and men.
You and 3 men. Okay. Okay. So, how was it received? How did it go, this project?
So in METU, the graduation projects actually have an industry sponsor.
Yeah.
So each graduation project may have a different industry sponsor. So ours was a defense. How to say that?
Well, we could say something
Like
like a defense institution, we can say, or no?
yeah, defense company, but it is like the government's defense
Well,
company
it's not
kind of.
private, so it is an institution.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
defense institution. So
Let's say a
that
defense. Yeah,
all right.
defense
So they
institution.
were sponsoring it economically.
Yeah. No, I think morally.
And she laughs.
No, I
Okay,
mean,
I
yeah,
get it. There's no money to be had there. All right.
no.
So how did
But
it go? Yeah.
they help us like whenever we have questions. For example, if we want like a template inventory for the I don't know planes that we can add,
Yes.
helicopters that we can add to the project as the real warfare simulator, then they actually provide that, etc., etc. So
Uh-huh.
they are there for our questions,
Oh,
etc.
well,
So
that's, they do give you some, like you say, moral support. Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. So let's say that at the end, you get your degree, right? And then you went into an MS project degree as well. Was that the MS?
No. That's just the graduation projects
4 year.
for
Hmm.
bachelors. Yes, yes.
Where did you
Um,
get your MS and PhD?
I get both my MS and PhD from Purdue
Purdue.
University.
Purdue is
Yeah,
in exactly where?
Indiana.
Indiana. Okay. So
Yeah,
she
in
takes
the
a
middle
plane
somewhere.
in the middle somewhere, right? She takes the plane, flies to Indiana. I'm sure. Did you go look at the map before you accepted it?
I wish.
Oh, you didn't know. You didn't know.
No, I know, I knew, but like like
I know. I know. But tell everyone an outsider's view.
right. So it's in the middle of cornfields. There's not much to do. You can just go to Chicago if you want to see a real city. But other than that, it's like a small college town called West Lafayette, and there is no distraction for
Right, exactly.
studying.
That's
Let's
the
say.
key. There's no
Yes.
distraction. Not at all. All right. So you spend 5 years there. Is that correct? Or was the
Um,
MS 1 year or two?
So it was actually I directly get into PhD program, and
Yeah.
when I was working towards my PhD, I also got my MS.
Okay.
So we can say it's like PhD total.
4 years?
Well, with internships, maybe 6 years because I
Okay.
had
So
a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that was well, well. How was it? Come on, tell us your feelings.
It was wonderful. So as I said, like during my undergrad, I got really into computer vision and computer
Yes, of
graphics
course,
and
of
robotics,
course.
right?
Hmm.
So when I was looking to apply for a PhD program, I investigated so many professors,
Right,
so many
right.
universities, so many
Yes,
labs,
of
and
course.
my lab I really wanted. That was so much cool research going on. They were doing
In
like
Purdue.
reconstruct
In
in
Purdue.
Purdue,
Yes.
yeah, in Purdue.
So that was your
My
dream.
advisor's lab,
That was
yeah,
really your
exactly.
dream. Okay. So you went with a full heart and a lot of expectations. At the end of all of that, all of those 6 years, do you still did you still have that enthusiasm?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, fantastic. Were your supervisor, well, you had one supervisor for the
Right,
PhD? Right.
right.
Did they, man, woman? How was
Men.
that? Okay. Were they really a supervisor or just, you had to go searching after them because sometimes PhDs supervisors are absent?
I was absolutely so lucky
Uh-huh.
to have an advisor so supportive,
Good.
so
Good.
on hands,
Good.
like both for research and both for navigating like your path in academia and
Perfect.
like for my internships. And after
Good.
after that, like thanks to his network, I was able to get a super good like postdoc position.
Yeah.
My research was really like highly respected and got so much
Fantastic.
attention. So
Yeah.
I was really lucky.
That's
I can
fantastic.
actually thank him. Like I don't know whether he will even listen,
What?
but
You
like
could go
thank
ahead and thank him.
yeah, yeah. Thanks, Professor Aliaga, for supporting my PhD.
All right. So now you're at the end of this PhD. And so the next stop is obviously you look around and you're hoping that someone will take you under their wing and you can assist them in their work, in their research project. And obviously that happened to you, didn't it?
Right. Yes. So it's actually a little bit fun path. So before my postdoc, I never thought I would be in industry. I always thought I
Oh,
would
oh,
be a
oh, wait a minute. So
professor.
then right after the PhD, you did a postdoc.
Right. Right. Yes.
Oh, at Purdue, the same.
No, 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 no. I
Oh,
did my postdoc at Facebook. I know it's not conventional,
no, it's
but
not conventional. Yeah.
yeah. So my postdoc supervisor is actually a very respected professor in MIT,
Yeah.
and I thought I was going to do a postdoc in MIT, so I was
MIT.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like preparing for it. I was saying, oh, like Boston is a good place, etc. And then he told me that, oh, by the way, I'm taking a leave from MIT and going to Facebook. So can
Yeah.
you be a postdoc in Facebook?
Well, see, now this is the very amusing and incredible situation of science, especially in the United States. But these large conglomerates, Facebook, Google, Amazon, you add the list, all over the world, as soon as they see a shining star, that doesn't want to get into the academic world, they bring them up, they snatch them up immediately, and they offer them the world and so much money and so many, how can I say, gifts, I would put it. So, the benefits, so many benefits that they will, keep you with them. And it's interesting that your professor, the professor at MIT, took a leave of absence to have that experience.
At
Because
Facebook, yeah.
the even if it's called MIT, still the academic world is academic, and it's not like Facebook or Google or Amazon or anything like that. So, how long did you spend in your uh, internship there?
Yeah, that was not an internship. That was
The postdoc.
normal. Yeah,
Postdoc.
postdoc. Yeah,
Where?
yeah.
Where exactly? The place, the location.
Oh, Menlo Park, California.
Menlo Park. So that's what brought you to California. No longer
Yep.
in Indiana, the cornfields. Now you're in Menlo Park. All right. So there you are. And how long did you stay there for the postdoc?
Um,
1 year?
I think it was like like it's 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years, I guess. Yeah,
2 years.
yeah.
Okay. And how long ago?
That was 3 years ago.
Okay. So now, then you became free. After 2 years, you were a free woman again.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what
We
happened
did
to you?
really nice and impactful research at Facebook, and it was a really good experience. But I thought I could take on some adventures. So I actually joined
Adventures.
a yeah, I actually joined a startup, and
But the
it was
startup, hold on, hold on. Now you joined a startup, and the startup, where did that idea come from?
I was looking to explore more things, and in the Bay Area, startups are
Yes,
always
they're
the
all over.
hype.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
And what
this
kind?
startup in
Yeah, go ahead. What
this
kind of
startup
start?
in I was about to say that this startup in particular, they were doing research and product at the same time, so it was like a perfect fit. And it was for autonomous driving and how we can build like more uh, efficient deep learning architectures, like the core of AI, right? Like
All
how we
right.
can.
So using artificial intelligence in driving, just in
Yeah,
driving, that was the startup. How long did you
yes,
stay
yes,
with
yes.
them?
We actually, I stayed 1 year because we actually sold the startup to
Ah,
Tesla.
to Tesla. There you
um,
go.
yeah, yeah. And then I joined my current company, which is Intel.
Intel. All right, now you're in Intel. And what happened? What changed? So you're never, at this point in Intel, did you ever consider a university career,
I
professorial?
did.
You
I
did.
did.
It went in
Yeah.
and went out.
No,
Yeah.
I'm seeing that you started to feel my enthusiasm is like more towards academia and research, but so especially for our area, for artificial intelligence, deep learning, etc., there is not relatively not enough resources in
Right.
academia for
Okay.
running those like very big
Exactly.
compute
Exactly.
projects.
When
Like
you say resources, there's just not enough money. They don't have enough to pay people to stay with them. All right, now we got that.
not to pay people, but more about the computation power. Like not like those very large servers and machines that you can run
Well,
very
that's what I
complex.
meant by
Oh, okay.
resources, money to offer anything. Let's go now to Intel. We're in Intel, right? You're in Intel. So what
Mhm.
happened? What brought you to Intel?
Um, my dream job actually brought me to Intel.
How? How did I mean?
So,
What dream job? Dream? It was a recent dream job. Did you think about it along the way?
so looking at my area, so
Right.
my PhD was about generative models and 3D
Right.
reconstruction, all that 3D data, and
3D. 3D.
3D data, yeah. And all my research other like after that was more on like artificial intelligence and deep learning and how we can use that in 3D data.
Uh-huh.
And this was the place for having so much 3D data and
Oh.
doing some impact with that 3D data. So
Uh-huh.
Just to give an example, some of our VR short films actually premiered in Venice Film Festival a couple of years ago,
Uh-huh.
like a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can actually watch our 3D films in Venice Film Festival, and that is super, super impactful. Just imagine, like, if I was in a university doing that 3D research, I would never have that
Never.
much impact.
No, no. It would have never come, it would have never emerged, actually.
Right, right,
So
right.
now you've been there 3 years.
Yeah, is it? I don't know. Which year are we?
We're
I
in
think 2 years.
2 years. Okay, so you
Yeah.
have no um, intention of leaving. I mean, did they make it possible for you to stay in the United States?
Yes, and when you actually ask that question, my mind goes to immigration process. Like, did
Yeah.
they make it possible to you to stay? Yeah, of
Well,
course,
no, it is an issue, but for scientists of a
of
certain
course.
level, it is feasible. And I'm wondering if it was Intel that did the trick,
Yes,
because I didn't
yes.
think a startup would be able to do that, would have enough power to get you to stay, or am I wrong?
No, no, startups can also do
Uh
that.
huh.
Facebook was about to do that, but like timeline slipped because of their
Okay.
some
Okay,
processes,
I see.
etc.
So good. So
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 yeah.
so this, let's say, it is really your dream job. They've made it possible for you. So now you're living in Menlo Park still? Where is Intel?
No, when I moved, so Intel headquarters is in Santa Clara, California.
Santa Clara. Mm-hmm.
But but the studio was in Manhattan Beach, like
Uh-huh.
very close to Los Angeles. So I moved
Right.
to Los Angeles
Mm-hmm.
when I started in Intel.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Interesting. I'm thinking, because after all of these things, this is you still do research, still publish research? Do you still publish
Of course,
papers? Okay. So, and you
of course.
put out papers on a regular basis. Do you publish with other scientists? You create
Yes.
papers? Okay. And
Yeah, so we have collaborations currently going on with a recent faculty in Binghamton University. He used to be a PhD student. Now he's a
in which
faculty
university?
in Binghamton University,
Binghamton.
in
Uh-huh.
yeah, in New
Yeah,
York.
in New York. Mm.
I also have a very big collaboration. That's actually a very nice story. So I have a very
Tell
big
us.
collaboration from Women in Shape Modeling Research Network.
Uh-huh.
So this is all women working in shape modeling and geometry processing,
Mm-hmm.
and we are trying to integrate deep learning approaches, AI approaches, into that shape understanding world. And this includes professors and grad students and postdocs from France, from obviously United States, from Greece,
How
from
interesting.
Italy.
Well, what
Yeah,
about
and like
Turkey? Anything from Turkey?
unfortunately, I don't have any ongoing collaborations right
Mm-hmm.
now
Yeah.
with Turkey, but we have a very nice, respected group of scientists that we
Mm-hmm.
always keep in touch, and we always follow each other's
Yeah.
scientific progression. So whenever we need something, we are
Sure.
always there for each other.
Now, the big question, the $1,000 question, is
Oh my
the
God.
survival kit for women in these types of careers. Tell us, what could you suggest?
Yeah, I
Yeah, so
was.
her voice goes low,
I
her
know.
face expression
Um,
changes, and she nods her head.
so the reason for all of these expressions is actually in an ideal world, we
Yes.
should not need this survival kit.
Ah,
Everything
sure.
should be equal, everything should be so fine, and women should be the same as
Yeah.
everyone in the world.
The
So
big
why it
should.
is
It's a
not?
big should.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, the survival kit is to enable the world treat us as they should. It's
Yeah.
not to fix us, or it's not to change us, etc. It is just to educate the world to treat us
Yes.
as they
Yeah.
should.
What is the
And
biggest
so,
obstacle? Tell me. What is the biggest obstacle that women face?
well, um, if you go in a systematic way, you may see that, okay, the numbers are decreasing in the education, like in K-12, then in high, then like in universities, etc. Like the woman in STEM careers actually dropping, and there are many like programs and big institutions, and
When you
everyone.
say, wait. Now, when you say STEM careers, what does the STEM stand for?
Oh, sorry about that. I
Uh
should
huh.
actually say that
Yeah, yeah.
first. STEM is short for science, technology, engineering, and medicine.
Uh huh.
And that is mostly like the scientific fields that where the moment's
Hard
numbers are
sciences, the
less.
hard science. Mm-hmm.
Right, right. So yeah, if you look at like the origins, like people claim that it's a pipeline problem, and like there are many programs and everyone is like really paying attention why the numbers are dropping, and there are like solutions in
Yes,
every step of that
of
pipeline.
course.
But the survival kit that I mentioned is for those that made it somehow to their career
Yes,
at some point as a
yes,
woman. And I found it like it's an evolving kit,
yes,
evolving items. But I found it like maybe the first item in doing my PhD, that um, the most important thing is don't forget that you have a voice, and
yes.
you need to use it. No one
Okay.
will give you permission to use your voice.
Okay, now
Like if some
this is true not only in STEM careers, but in all areas for women. Women
absolutely,
need to
absolutely.
remember they have a voice and they need to use it. This is something that people continue to forget. Go on.
Exactly. And use it for, if you see something wrong, if you see something unfair, if
Yeah.
you see someone is not going evidence based
Yes.
but opinion based, if data is used incorrectly,
Yes.
or like you can go in any granularity of that, like incorrect
Sure.
or
Mm-hmm.
not, like you need to make yourself
Heard.
heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also to advocate for others too. So I have seen in workforce there are so many women that are more obeying because they overthink more. When
Yes.
you overthink more, you can always find a maybe somewhere, and that maybe can always make you stuck on that should I say that or not
Okay,
moment.
so that's
So
you mean the doubt. Get rid of
yeah,
self-doubt. Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And like the more you interact with many people, the more you see that like actually the people who recklessly use their voice cannot feel behind that voice that much than overthinking women, because
Right.
overthinking women are trying to like see the big picture in such a way that they are questioning the validity of the argument there.
Right.
But if a man just says like, oh, you know, like that is possible, there's actually no evidence to back that up. It's just like something that passes his mind most of the time, because he's not overthinking. He's just like throwing an idea, and but meanwhile, woman has been thinking about that idea for the past 10 minutes and
Yes.
having 10 possible ways to back up that idea,
Good for
right?
you. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, sorry about the like
No,
explaining
no,
it
no,
more,
no.
but
I
like
mean, this
yeah,
is very
use your
important
voice.
to talk about. It's very important. And so, like you say, this is an ongoing process. The kit, the
Hmm.
survival kit that you're talking about, is something that's updated every so often because it's
Yeah,
an
yeah,
ongoing battle for women, really.
yeah.
And this is, yeah, well, can you imagine in the military service or, anywhere there is a hierarchy. And in universities, in the academic world, there is a functional hierarchy. Even in, where there are public institutions, they should be functional institutions. They are not as functional all the time. Take it from me, I work in in a university. I know, and it's problematic. It's very problematic, and um, there's a limit, of course, to how much you can push yourself to struggle against this injustice. because it takes away from your work and from the enthusiasm of your work. And so I don't have an answer for that. But it's important that you take one step, and then you take another step, and you take another step, and you keep working and seeking out women. And for example, I just had a guest on my show yesterday who was talking. He was talking about the system that he uses in business to coach business entrepreneurs. And he said, "Yes, I have this graph where there's a line of courage, and many people are placed beyond the line of courage or below the line of courage." And he was talking and talking, and I said, "Let me ask you, but how many do you cater to men in your business?" And he started laughing and laughing, and I said, "You do." Because it's the elephant in the room. I said, in my coaching, I never would use that word, the courage. It sounds like the warrior, the male warrior. And so it's completely different. And he had to agree on the one hand, but he said to me an interesting thing. And in Italian, we call it a corner kick in soccer. When you make there's a corner kick and you save yourself. And he said to me, Claudia, he said, I think that why I have so many male clients is because I work with CEOs and entrepreneurs, and objectively speaking, there are not as many women entrepreneurs. And yes, granted, there are not as many women presidents. There are not as women, and we get that. But it nonetheless, when you see it again and again and again, it's devastating, It's devastating. And you think, well, would my life have been different if I were a man? Sure. But I wouldn't go back to do that. But I did. I remember when I was a child. And I thought, because I was the second of three girls, and the second child, my parents were waiting for Alberto. And I wasn't Alberto. And so I came out and I figured, well, I was wondering, well, wouldn't it be interesting to see what it would be like to be on that side of the life, And I never had an answer, and I never got it, because I thought, no, we're all the same, we're all the same, we're all the same. Until I started in research, and I started with research projects in the academic world, in side by side to males, and I saw the politics, and we are not the same. No, we are not.
Yeah.
Even if there are two different bathrooms, we are not the same. And so, and I hate to say it, it's 2021, almost 2022, but that is the reality. That is the reality all over. And, there's also another expression in Italian that says, the entire world is like a small village, meaning it's not only here, it's there, it's everywhere.
Obviously,
and I believe that. I do believe that. There are some progressive social environments, maybe Nordic countries, the Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland. They have a different political and economic situation that may favor the progression of women in all fields. But it's not that much better. I mean, it is better, of course, but it's not as, maybe I'm wrong. And I do hope that someone of my audience listens to me and writes to me, look, you're wrong. And they'll give me the statistics and say, no, in this country.
I want to see that too.
Yes. And I'll be sending it to everyone if somebody does that. So please, anyone listening, please send me that information. I would love to find even just a small little village where that's not true. I'll go there tomorrow just to see what it's like. Ilke, thank you so much for taking time and coming on this show and talking about your work. Ilke Demir, it was a pleasure to meet you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. And I salute you and your progress and your courage. Good for you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you. It was really a bliss to be in this podcast and with you, like meeting with you. I know our hearts are on the same path,
Same
and
page. Same
thanks for
page.
mentioning. Thanks for mentioning so important topics. Like life is, of course, like my life is research, but life is not only research, and we need to
Yes, it is, and it
actually
is.
use our voices in these other
Yes.
topics that are
Yeah, yeah.
affecting us daily. So thank you, thanks
We
again.
always forget, that work is just a small part. And in the
Right,
beginning, at least in your age, I remember everything. It was where I spent all my time, everything. And then all of a sudden, because I had this very time consuming job. I was a conference interpreter. And so I was working for the government, and I was traveling all over in the time I was living for many years in New York City. So I would go away for a month, come back, and my friends weren't there when was home. Then I'd go away another month, and then I'd come back, and it was very, very lonely. The work was interesting, but when you're studying, you're alone. When you're writing, you are alone. If you have the luxury of working in a research project with other people, it's fun, it's challenging, it's interesting. But when you are reading and writing, that's a lot of loneliness. It is. And
right,
but
true,
it's
true.
wonderful. I mean, it fills your heart, and it's so passion driving. It's excitement, 100%. I know that feeling. Sometimes you get so excited, and you know that not everybody can appreciate, and you don't know who to tell. You know, so you go back to your colleagues.
True,
Yeah, yeah.
true.
But I salute you, and I will wish you the
Thanks
best. And I
again.
do hope you keep in touch. And I'll let you know when somebody writes to me about that little town.
Okay, yeah, looking forward. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Take care of yourself, Ilke, and all the best to you. Bye bye.
Bye.